Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day or night it is for you today. I wish you a very hearty welcome to this IELTS speaking class. My name is Hamish. Again, welcome to Verbling. I'm going to be taking you through this IELTS speaking preparation class today. We're going to do this, a very similar class again, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll check the schedule and I'll let you know. These first 2 minutes are for Verbling Premium users. If you are finding it difficult to get a place in the classes that you want, please consider upgrading your Verbling membership to Premium, and that gives you that option in this 2 minute slot to get your place, in the classroom, get your place at the table, as it were. In these 2 minutes, I am going to let's see if I have some useful things for you here. Oh yes, okay. So we're going to focus on part 1. We're going to get a lot of practice of part 1 questions in the IELTS speaking section. I'm going to say hello to a couple of students. Hello to, is it Michael or Mikael?
Michael, yeah.
I'll go with Michael, thank you. Welcome to class. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent. And where are you from?
I am from Poland.
From Poland, excellent. That's very good to see you here in class. Are you planning on taking the IELTS exam, or do you want to just improve your English here today?
Just improve.
Okay.
For now.
Very good. Well, we can do that. A lot of the questions in the IELTS exam, especially in part 1, they're very general, very personal questions about work, study, things like that. So they're good practice really for speaking with anyone, getting to know anyone in English. So welcome to class, Michael. I look forward to practicing with you. Let me say hello to Nino. Nino, hello, Nino.
Hello, teacher.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how about you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Yes, I've got a lot of I've got 2 cats in the room with me, which I think is always a good sign. Can you hear me okay? Well, Nino, I look forward to practicing IELTS speaking with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Okay, nice one. Noura, hello, Noura. Oh, okay. I'll wait until you're ready for us. Oh, now I have you on screen, but I don't have your name because it's in Arabic, and that's difficult for me to say. Can you tell me your name? Okay, I'll wait for you. Let's see, Noura. No, okay, Noura, you're still. Are you ready to say hello to us, Noura? I'm gonna wait then. Okay. So, we're going to look at part 1 of the speaking test today in IELTS. IELTS is an exam that you take, for example, if you want to study at a British or English-speaking university in the UK or in Europe or perhaps in Australia. It's a test that you take if you speak English as a second language and you want to work in countries like that. And finally, if you want to live permanently in a country like Australia, and English isn't your first language, well then the Australian government will be looking for an IELTS score from you, so they know that you can speak English comfortably and confidently in that country. So for study, for work, and for life as well, an IELTS, you might well need to take the IELTS exam at some point. And half of it is about English, half of it is about the experience and the strategies you use to prepare for the exam. So it's really good to get some solid practice in an exam like this, so you know the kind of things that they're looking for. Let me say, oh, hello to Kubra. Hello, Kubra. Kubra, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, teacher. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking. Cooper, remind me, where are you from?
I am from Turkey.
Turkey, very good. All right. And how's the weather in Turkey today?
Uh, Time?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
13, 6, past 13.
Oh, plus 13. Okay, right. It's colder in Tennessee. I have to say, it's colder here in the American South, but it's still winter. It's still winter. All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, Cooper. Thank you for joining us. Let me say hello to Mo Bok. Hello, Mo.
Hello, teacher. Hi, everyone.
Good to see you. Welcome back to class.
Thank you.
How's the weather with you, Mo Bok?
Well, it's fine and cloudy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's warm.
Well, I look forward to welcome to class, Mo, and I look forward to practicing with you today. Let me move that over there. All right. So let me first of all share my screen with you because I want to show you some of the subjects that can come up in part 1 of the IELTS exam, and I think all of these subjects are things that we need to make sure that we can talk about or that we can answer questions about. These are all very personal questions, not rude questions, just questions about ourselves, questions that only we can answer because maybe it's about family or things we like to eat, things we like to watch on TV, books that we like to read. Well, there's all kinds of examples. Let me show you my screen, and I'll show you all the kinds of things that they might ask us about. Okay, can you see my screen? Anybody? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I have to check, because otherwise I'm talking to myself, right? Let me move that one up there. Okay, so, and this is a question, for absolutely everybody. Tell me, what sort of questions do we get in part 1? All these pictures tell you about things that we might get asked about. So, what kinds of things do they ask about in IELTS for part 1?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your point.
Relationship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we got, so the family thing, right? We've got family here, right? So they might say, do you have a big family? Do you live close to your family? What do you do when you spend time with your family? There could be all kinds of questions they could ask about your family, about siblings, parents, kids, all kinds of things, right? So there's family. What else do we have? What other subjects do you see on that board?
Traveling.
Very good, thanks, sir. Traveling, okay. What else?
Media also, since we have a TV and more media.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely TV. Definitely TV. What about this one here? What kind of media is that?
Which one?
If you see the circle I'm making over it. You've got family and you've got travel. What's this one in the middle here?
Carnival.
What do you think?
Not this one? It's tape.
It's a tape. It's the kind of tape you get at a cinema or a movie theater. It's well, maybe in the olden days now. But so they may talk about cinema or movies, and when we use vocabulary like this, let me see. Let me get back to our chat box for a second. Okay, there we go. We know that in British English. Oops. Cinema, right? American English. Movie theater. There we go. Now, can anyone tell me if you're taking the IELTS exam? Does it matter? Is it important if you use American English or British English when you speak? Michael, what do you think?
I think it is pretty important which variant we use, American or British. That's when we want to go abroad, study, to work. Then we have to know.
Okay. Yeah, and it is important. Okay. In the exam, the good news, I think, partly the good news for the IELTS exam is, although the British Council organizes this exam, it's a British Council exam, you don't have to speak British English to the dog there in the background. Hope my cats don't get too traumatized by that. Although it's a British Council exam, you don't have to speak British English. They'll accept American English as well. So when it comes to the different vocabulary, like American, like the movie theater or the cinema, it doesn't matter. You can choose either one. And of course, they're not looking for a British accent or an American accent. Not at all. Not at all. I have an accent. You all have an accent. The accent is only a problem if it stops communication. If the accent is so strong that we can't understand the English being spoken, well, that's a problem. But if you speak clearly, with good pronunciation and fluency and a natural talking speed, well, there's no problem. You can have any accent you like, and of course you can have your natural accent, and that's not going to be a problem. So we don't have to worry about accents. We don't have to worry about British English or American English. We just need to answer the question and make sure the examiner can understand our answer without having to work too hard. Okay, let's just finish up on our board. Yeah, sure.
What's different between accent and pronunciation? Since we speak them. So what's different between them?
Oh, Omar, it's a good question. Let me add you to my list of people I can ask questions to. Well, let me give you an example. With pronunciation, if we take the word, that word in the verbling chat box, yeah, I thought I spelled it wrong there. There we go. We can pronounce that with in an American English way or a British English way. And a word like that for someone who's British, we'll hit that T in the middle. So we'll say water, water. But we don't pronounce the ending. So it sounds a little bit like, let's see if I can get this right. Water, yeah. So we hear the T, which is great, but we don't hear the ending. So it's a little strange. You think it would be water, right? Now the Americans, they get it a little wrong as well, and so they end up with they don't hit that T. They don't have time to give you the T in water. So instead they go for water, right? Water. But they hit the ending, which is nice. So I guess if you combine the British accent and the American accent and put those together, then maybe that's perfect pronunciation. So we can have differences depending on British English, American English, and a lot of that is informed by accent. But either of those is going to be correct. If we say water, the British one, it's right. If we say water, the American one, that's right as well. They are said differently, but if they're pronounced clearly, either one is okay. So these different accents with British and American, or even of course accents African and European and Asian, we can hear those. If someone speaks English with an Asian or African accent, we can hear the difference. Any English listener will hear the difference, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to the British Council and IELTS, as long as that accent doesn't interfere with understanding. If the accent is so thick that we can't hear the English, well, that's a problem, right? But everyone in the world has an accent, so we don't need to reduce the accent. We just need to improve, the ability for other people to hear our words clearly. That's all. But we're going to we'll practice some of those questions. Of course we will. Let me just finish off with my my picture board here. 1 second. Sharing the screen with you again. Okay. So we had family, movies or cinema, travel, TV. What about this one right here? What's that? What's the topic?
College.
Again, please.
College.
Absolutely, yeah. College, university, education, right? Okay, there's that one. Let me give it a circle of. We talked about it. What about this guy here?
Shopping.
Thank you very much. And this one is really small. Oh, excuse me. Put that over there. This one is really small, so I'm gonna have to make it nice and big. Whoa. What do you think? What's the subject?
Party.
Yeah, definitely.
Festival.
Thank you. I think a festival, very much I mean, where I live in a small town in Tennessee, I don't see a festival like that, but I see other festivals. And if we think about what happens in a festival or a celebration, it's most of the time it's music, dancing, food, costumes. So all over the world we have forms of celebration, kinds of festivals. And so if you've got a question about a festival in the IELTS exam, they won't be asking you about an American festival. They want to know about a festival in your home country. They want to know about what happens with you during maybe a national day of celebration, or any kind of, all sorts of cultural events, things that are special for your country, right? Now there's an easy one. What's that?
Sport.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Another easy one, I think.
Weather.
Yeah, I'm happy to say that both the British and American people are obsessed with that subject. Let me make this one a little bigger. What's this?
Love. Oh, not food.
Yeah, and you're right. It has that love symbol, and so perhaps it could be a healthy heart, a healthy body with that kind of food. Lots of vegetables, lots of fresh food in that picture. Oh, what about this guy?
An angry boss.
He might be the boss. He's not happy. He's not happy. So it could be about him. It could be about someone you work with. More likely for part one, it's about your work. If you're working, they'll ask you questions about your job. Absolutely. Last one. Now what is that?
Town.
It is a town, okay. And where is this town?
USA.
It is indeed, okay. We've got a flag here, a flag there. We've got this.
American.
Absolutely. So this is a very typical American hometown. You've got the main street, you've got the sidewalks, the little stores or shops, the drugstore or the pharmacy, the chemist, the town hall here with the flag at the top, and more flags everywhere in the United States, which is what they like to do here. And of course, again, in IELTS in part one, they won't be asking you about this town. Yeah, they're not interested in what you think about that town. They want to hear, of course, they want to hear about your town, where either the town you're living in right now, or where you grew up, your hometown, the town perhaps where you were born, where you went to school, where you spent your childhood. So that's if you get a hometown question, it'll be about your hometown, not about the United States, not about the UK, about the places that you spend a lot of your time either growing up in or going to school in, or maybe now working in or continuing to study in, you know. So I hope that gives you a good idea of the kinds of things they can talk about in part 1. Let me come back to you here 1 second. I also want to be, I think someone's got a vacuum cleaner in the background there. I also want to be clear with you in part 1, and I put the guidance on the, against my lesson description. There are some materials. If you click on that lesson description, you can see the link to the British Council IELTS website. You can also see some guidance materials about the IELTS exam. And part 1 of the exam, it's very much about trying to make the student more comfortable. The questions are simpler. I mean, the very first question in the IELTS exam is going to be, oh, so you are, and they'll confirm your identity. They want to make sure you're the right person here in the room at this time, right? So pretty easy first questions. It's very, very likely they'll also ask you in part 1 about work or study. So it's like, oh, are you a student? Are you working? And whichever answer you give, it's very, very likely they'll ask you questions. I mean, if you want to talk about your studies, it'll be, you know, why did you choose that subject? Are you enjoying it? Where do you study? What are the other students like? What do you want to do after you finish your studies? If you say you're working, of course they might ask, what's a typical day like in your work? Do you work for a big organization? Describe the people you work with. How did you get the job? Yeah. Why did you choose that job? Would you prefer to do something else? So there are a lot of questions they can ask about work and about study, but they should still be. You should feel confident in being able to answer these questions because they work and study. These are things you should be able to describe pretty well. They're things that are always going to be about you. Yeah, they're not about anyone else. They're not asking you for views on other people. Purely about you and your experience. And that's true for part 2 as well. Parts 1 and part 2 of the speaking section of IELTS. It's all you. It's all you, okay? So let's take a look at some questions. All right. Michael, again, are you happy to practice with us today?
Yeah.
All right, all right. I'm going to ask Michael some questions. I'm going to ask him some family questions. And
teacher, I'm also very interested in this part. So.
Very good, Abdul. I'm putting you down for number 2. Okay, there we go. Got you on the list there.
Thanks.
I'll come to you next. Very good. All right. So, as I say, and this is for Michael and for everybody else, at the start, they'll check to make sure you're the right person. They'll ask you how you are, and of course you'll say, fantastic, wonderful, whatever you want to say. And they'll introduce themselves as well, because you know it's a stranger and it's an exam, and that can be difficult. We can feel nervous in an exam, but the examiner in that examination room, they want you to do wonderfully. They want you to do the best job you can. So it's part of their job to make you, and I mean this for everybody, to make you feel as comfortable as possible. And so a little bit of part 1 is about just easing us in to this part of the exam. So they don't want to make it too difficult. If you don't understand a question in part 1, you have the opportunity to say, oh, could you ask that a different way? You know, I'm not quite sure what that means. In part 2, you don't. In part 2, you've just got to answer it. So we need to listen really carefully in part 2. But with part 1, there is a little bit of a conversation there. So if you don't understand, let the examiner know. Right? All right. So let's start with Michael. First of all, Michael, can you describe your family, please?
Okay, my family is a four people. Me, my sister, my dad, and my mom. My sister is 18 years old. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me, Michael, how much time do you spend with your family?
I try to spend as much time as I can with my family. I spend especially afternoons with my family when I get back from school. And evenings. Yeah, I try to eat together with them.
Oh, right. Okay. So you eat with your family. What other things? What other things do you like to do with your family?
I like to talk. I like to watch TV. I like to play board games. I like to walk. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Do you get along well with your family?
Yes, I think yes.
Okay. Who do you get along well with the most? Who do you think you have the best relationship in your family?
I think I've got the best relationship with my sister. Yeah, I can talk with her about almost everything.
Okay, very good. And tell me, I mean, we have your family, and it sounds like you're close. You spend time with them, and with your sister, and you talk, and you have meals, and all these good things. Do you think is that typical in your country? Do you think most families are close in your country?
I think it depends. It depends on family. It depends. Is the family well situated? I think it all depends. We can't generalize it.
Okay.
But I think it still changes, and I think families generally spend more time with themselves nowadays than it was some years ago.
Okay. Thanks, Adam. I'm taking off my examiner hat now. That was very nice. Now, a question just for Michael. Are those questions, are they difficult? Are they hard? I mean, because those are very typical, very ordinary Part 1 questions. What do you think for you?
Well, I think they are easy.
And when we for Part 1 questions, let's remind ourselves. Let's see. We've got to describe your family. How much time do you spend? What do you like to do as a family? I mean, these are quite short questions. How long? How big an answer should we give for questions like that? Do you think?
I think the answers should be not just one sentence, but a little bit longer.
I think so. Yeah, and I think Michael. Let me think of an example here. Oh yes, a good one. I think one of the answers I really liked from you was I asked, do you get along well with your family? And you said yes, and we eat together. And I said, who do you get along with the best? And he said, okay, oh well, I guess I get along best with my sister. And then you told me why. And so we absolutely have room for 1 or 2 sentence answers, because we can answer the question, and we can give a little bit of detail, or we can give the why. We give the what, which is, oh, it's my sister, and we give the why. Oh, because I can talk to her. You know, I can have a good conversation with her. So you've got room, I think, for 2 or 3 sentences. We're not expecting some really big answer, but I think we'll all be able to tell that, because these questions are not big questions. You know, it could be, are you working? What are you studying? Do you like what you're studying at school? Do you like your job? Do you like your family? So they're quite short questions, but we know we have to give more than a yes or a no. We need to give a little bit more information. But when we're thinking about part 1, think about oops. 2 to 3 sentences, and you were doing that, Michael, as well. So I thought that those were some really good examples you gave us. There was a question in my chat box about should we speak in an academic way, and we should speak as formally as we can, as we're comfortable doing. Some of the IELTS speaking section is designed to be like a conversation, and we can imagine perhaps that we're talking with a friend, but we're not. We're talking with a complete stranger. We've never met this person before. Let me mute you for a little, Michael. That was a little bit of reverb there. It is an exam, and we're going to feel like it's an exam, and we should use formal English, and really that means not using slang, okay, and just keeping our English as correct as possible. We still contract, right? So if someone says what are you studying, we'll say, well, I'm studying, not I am studying. We'll use the natural spoken English. We don't want to sound strange or artificial, but we want, you know, I think we really speak as if you're in a lecture hall and a professor asks you a question. So, you know, you're with friends, with other students, but you need to, you know, you're speaking to the professor, so you should try and keep it formal. Or you can imagine you're speaking with your boss or a manager at work. Okay, so let's not use slang, and let's keep it as formal as it is. We are talking about some personal things. So the subjects are personal. Subjects often are informal. But yes, the way we speak, we should be as formal as we can and avoid slang. Sometimes because the examiner might not understand the slang, and then we get into difficulties having to explain it. So yeah. But Michael, thank you for being our first practice today. I liked your answers. You gave me some good details there and some good strong answers. So thank you, Michael, for doing that. Let me go over to Abdul. Abdul, are you ready to practice with us today?
Yes, of course, I'm ready.
Yeah, let me see. Omar, okay, number 3, very good. Okay, so Abdul, tell me first of all, do you work or do you study?
I work in a public company in Pakistan.
All right, so what do you do?
I'm working as a recruitment officer in a company. It's an R&D company, research and development, obviously. So I work here. It's been 2 years almost.
Oh, okay, very interesting. What are your responsibilities?
Actually, my job description is exactly to help the CEO when you know, some groups wanted to recruit somebody. So I'll be there. I will assisting the CEO, and obviously these types of activities I'm helping CEO.
Okay, and how many hours do you work each day?
6 hours.
6 hours. Okay.
Usually, yeah.
So when do you start and when do you finish?
It's usually 9 to 3:30 most of the times, but it's not really. You can say that it's not particularly. Sometimes we get long hours, sometimes you don't, but it's always 6 hours a day.
Okay, okay. And do you enjoy your work?
Yeah, it's according to my nature. I choose this because I like to interact with people, so that's why I choose the recruitment, human resources, because I've done my MBA in recruitment.
Ah,
So
I
it's
see.
according to
Okay, right, right. Oh, that's really good. So okay, so you're enjoying the work, and you studied for this, and you have the MBA. Okay, but is there some other kind of work you would rather do if you had the choice? Is there something else you'd rather do?
Yeah, obviously, when I was a kid, I'm supposed to be a model, supermodel, you can say.
Okay, cool.
So, but my father told me that.
Oh, I've lost you for a second, Abdul. Is your microphone still there? Abdul, I can't hear you at the moment. Okay. How about now, Abdul? Can you hear me okay? No, we lost him. Okay, when Abdul comes back, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. I thought those were some really good answers he was giving about work. Oh, that might be him coming back right now. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Abdul, welcome back. Can you hear me okay, Abdul? Okay, still can't hear you. Oh. Okay. Abdul, I'm gonna move on. I'll come back to you, okay? Unless you can hear me.
I'm back, teacher.
All right, there we go.
Sorry about that.
How exciting.
I lost my connection, actually.
I understand. I understand. No problem. No problem at all. I just wanted to say I thought I heard some good answers from you there, and I thought that the highlight for me when I was listening, because again we're thinking about the what and the where. When we get these questions, it's like we'll give the answer and then give the where or the why or the how. Give them something, give them something extra, and that can often show your English vocabulary, or just your ability to describe something, your ability to tell a story. And in part one, that can be quite simple, but it's still very important to do this. And I think of your let's see, where were we? Oh yes, of course. I mean, the very simple question: do you enjoy your work? And we can say, oh yes or no, but we know we need we need more than that. We need a couple of sentences, and you were very strong on this. First of all, you mentioned that you're doing this job for a reason, because you've got you studied for it and you have good qualification. You also said it's in my nature to communicate with people, and I really like that expression because it's so clear, so clear. And if you use that with the examiner, they understand immediately why you're in that job. They understand so much more about your character and personality and the way you work. Just a little phrase like that can really help explain things. So, Abdul, very nice. I want to say thank you for practicing that part with us. I'm gonna keep moving, but thank you, Abdul, for doing that. Let me see. Okay, well, let's go to Omar. I know you want to. Once my computer. There we go. We're back. Oh yeah. You got a question?
Okay.
Yeah.
Describe your education. Hello.
Sorry. We're okay. Yeah, Omar. Are you ready
Teacher,
to
we can't
practice
hear you.
with us?
Someone muted you.
Yes,
I'm ready.
Oh, okay,
It's
well,
about education, right?
All right. There we go. I don't know.
Okay.
let me think about that. You know what? Maybe. Are you a student, Omar? Are you studying? You
Yes,
are?
I
Okay.
am a student. I'm studying.
I'm sorry. Go on, Omar.
Okay, I'm a student. I study medicine. I'm second year pharmacy medicine student. I chose medicine because it's a respected field. The school. When I was a kid, I used to go into a government high school. I usually had a co-educational schools because I was somehow way beyond my friends. So I need some private teacher and something like this.
Yeah.
My favorite subject was biology, anatomy. So those and for that reason I chose medicine. My favorite teacher was the second grade teacher. He is the one who taught me the first thing about biology, and so love of the biology started. What is your education system like in country? The education system in my country is unlike the U.S. Education, where you have to study 4 years as an undergraduate study. Here we can study medicine immediately. Do you think your country has effective education system? In my point of view, I would say yes, my country has an effective education system. For example, there is a lot of libraries, and we have a lot of library and reference that could help us, even in our native language.
Okay.
And okay.
I think that's all. Yeah. No. Thanks for going through that list. Of course, in part one, they won't give you that list of questions. You're going to have to wait to see what questions, what kinds of things they ask you about. But you went through that list, and that was interesting to hear your answers. I liked your answer to the last one. In part one, sometimes they might ask you a wider question. I asked. Let's see. Yes, I asked Michael that wider question. You know, are families in your country are they do they tend to be closer knit or you know do they tend to be closer? And Omar, you answered that question about do you think your country has an effective education system? It really depends how that first part of the speaking section is going. So maybe they'll ask that wider question. But for most of part one, they'll keep just to your experience and to the things that you're doing or the things you're not doing, or perhaps the things that you would rather do instead. So they'll keep it focused on you. Absolutely. Okay. Thanks, Omar. Do you have any questions about those questions, or questions about your answers? Anything you want to ask about, Omar?
Was it well coordinate? I thought it was not as coordinate as it should be. Like I have to think about it, then give an answer.
Right. Well, but the truth is, with all these questions, again, you know, in the exam, you won't have the super list, right? They're going to ask you questions, and verbally, and we'll be for part one. All these questions, the examiner is going to say them. It's going to say them to you, so you won't have a list. So the examiner will expect that you will need a moment to think about it, and it's a very good idea to take that moment, right? In an exam, if we're anxious or excited, it's very easy to just go for it, right? To quickly go in, even if we haven't finished listening to the question, we might want to jump in. But that's dangerous, because if we don't listen to the whole question, it's very hard for us to give a direct answer to that question. So it makes sense for us to take a moment because we're thinking about it, right? We need to listen carefully and then consider our answer and then give our answer. But the examiner expects you to take a moment to think about it, right? That's perfectly natural, and I think it's a sign of respect, really, in an exam, to take that moment and to consider, to show. You can show with your body language, or you can say, that's a good question. You can show that you're thinking about it, and then give that answer. But they'll give you 2 or 3 or 5 seconds to think about it, because that's natural, right? If you ask someone a question like this, anywhere, they'll need a moment. They'll need a moment to process the question, think about their answer, and then give it to you. So don't worry about you don't have to just boom, go in with your answer. Not at all. Please take that moment to think about it, and always make sure when the examiner is speaking, all you're doing is listening, right? Because I want you to give, I want you to understand the question 100%, right? And if you listen carefully and you don't understand the question, well, let me see. In part 1 or part 3, if you don't understand the question, if there's a word you don't understand, or you're not quite sure what the examiner is saying, what do you do? And that's a question for everybody. What can you do if you don't understand the question?
I would give a general answer.
What do you think?
For example, if he told me, do you study medicine? I didn't understand what medicine is, but I have already understand what study is. So I would say, well, I'm not into study, and something like this. I'm not into study. I don't like study. I found study hard thing to do. So instead, I choose to work instead.
It's I want you to understand the whole question. You're right. We can look at part of a question and think, okay, well, it's probably about that. That to me is a gamble. I think that's a little dangerous, because it's, if we don't understand the whole question, it makes it very hard to give that direct, that fully understood answer that they're looking for, and they're testing your ability to give a direct answer to a direct question. The good news is, right, of course, it would be, we want a perfect exam, right, a perfect exam where they ask the questions, you understand easily, and you get those wonderful answers. That would be great. That would be wonderful. But of course, if you don't understand the question, tell them, okay? Because these IELTS examiners, they are professional question askers, okay? If you don't understand the question, let them know. For example, you could very simply say, oh, could you repeat the question? That's okay. We can't do that in part 2, but in parts 1 and 3, you could do that. Or, if it's a little bit of vocabulary, if there's something we're just not quite getting, we could say, could you ask that question another way? Right? So they rephrase the question, and they'll use some different vocabulary, and perhaps this time, oh, okay, now you know what they're saying. So if you don't understand the question, don't pretend you do, right? Because if you do that, you're gonna answer the wrong question. If you give an answer that is wonderful, that is full of great description and fluency and pronunciation and vocabulary, but it doesn't answer the question, they're giving you 0 for that. Okay? If you answer the wrong question, you're going to get the lowest score. It's as if you didn't say anything, right? So make sure you make so important to understand the question so you can answer it, right? Let me try. Let me practice with another student. Thank you, Omar, for that, for your answers there. I appreciate it. Kubra, are you happy to practice with us today? Kubra, would you like to practice? Okay, I'm going to ask Mobok, are you happy to practice with us?
Yes, teacher.
All right, excellent.
I
Okay,
have
very
always had time respond in a direct respond.
very
But I'll
good. Well,
try.
okay, and this is just practice. It's just me and the class. So you know, if we make mistakes, it doesn't matter. If we do great, then that's good as well. Let me find a subject for you. 1 second. Oh, I know. Okay. Okay. First of all, oh, so good to see you. My name's Hamish. I'll be your IELTS examiner. Oh, let me check your identification. Ah, very good. You are who you say you are. Very nice. First of all, tell me, do you like going out, or do you prefer staying at home? Very nice. First of all,
Well, in fact, I prefer staying at home if it is about going to a crowded place. But if it's a place out of the city, I would rather not staying at home.
okay. If you do go out, because we all go out sometimes, what do you like to do if you go out?
Teacher, I lost you for a moment.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. No, that happens sometimes. Yeah, I'm just gonna type her a message there. Okay, let me ask that question again. No problem at all. Mo, if you do go out, if you go out with friends, what kind of thing do you like to do?
Well, I have a passion of taking photos. I'm an amateur photograph.
Mhm.
That's my first thing to think about. We have a habit of when we go outside. I mean, in the wilderness, to prepare tea. I like that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell me, do people in your country do they go out a lot? What kinds of things do people do in your country?
Well, the usual kind of thing. I mean, I'm not like everyone else. So too many people maybe would stay at cafes or maybe playing soccer
Mm-hmm.
than doing the same things I do. So
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
I'm different.
Me too. Me too. Well, we're all unique little snowflakes, I'm sure. So, and what about eating? I mean, do you prefer to go to a restaurant to have a meal, or do you prefer to eat at home?
It's eating at home. Nothing matched that. Mainly with the family.
All right.
Yeah, we
And
enjoy
yeah.
our meals together. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And what kinds of things do you like to eat for dinner?
Well, my mom's kitchen is always the best until now.
Good answer. I like that.
My mom's kitchen is always the best.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, Shagufta, we're talking with Mo at the moment, so let me just. It's good to see you. Mo, tell me, what do you think of those kinds of questions? Are those easy for you, or are they difficult?
From the beginning, I told you, teacher, that I have always had time to respond, direct respond. The response, sorry, teacher, because someone is muting.
Yeah, no, I've tried to take her out, so sorry about that. Please go on.
Would you please repeat, because I just lost concentration?
Oh, sure thing. Oh, really, just to ask the questions that I asked and the questions that you answered, were they difficult for you, or were they easy?
No, they're quite normal. Just I'm not used to receiving those kind of questions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, and I think the big part of this is some of these questions can feel straightforward or simple, but it's still an exam, and we still have to talk in a formal way, and it's just an unusual situation to be sitting. This is not an everyday thing to sit down with someone in a room where they are writing down things, you know, when they're listening so carefully for your pronunciation and your fluency and vocabulary. It's an exam. They might be very friendly, and I hope your IELTS examiner is friendly. I hope they very much encourage you to give the best answers you can give. But it's still an exam. I get nervous in exams. I think most people get nervous in exams. So when we think about these questions, it's so important to practice them. So important to think, okay, well, here's my answer. Is there another detail I can give? Because the more we prepare, the more we practice with these everyday Part 1 questions about food, travel, work, education, family, our social life, the things we like to do inside and outside of the home, the more we practice thinking about that, and the more we practice speaking those answers, and we can speak with a friend, we can speak, of course, with a teacher on verbling, we can speak to ourselves if we like. We can record ourselves if you have a phone. Of course, if you're on verbling, you have a computer, so there's definitely a free way for you to record yourself. You can practice doing all these things, and the more you practice, the more correct practice you have, the more comfortable you're going to be in the IELTS exam. Because when you get a question about work or study or food or sport, it will be something you're used to talking about, and that's of course for everybody here. Let me check to see if I can give you some links just to finish off. Okay, 1 second. There we go. These are on the description page, but I also want to just put them in the box for the last thing. Okay, there we go. This is the official British Council IELTS website. I've put that in the chat box. If there's anything, if you're wondering about when you can take it, where you can take it, how much it is, what you have to do to apply, the things you can use the IELTS score for, and really also advice. They have videos on there from people who have taken that exam, and they can give you advice about the speaking section. So a really good website to check out. I don't know as much as the British Council does about the IELTS exam, so please check that website out. Let me also, I know some of you already have this, but just to bring it up, the last thing I want to do is share my share the guidance with you, okay? And that has a list of questions, a whole bunch of different questions they might ask in Part 1, and it's very helpful to let me see. Oh, there we go. 1 sec. Sorry, it's hard work for my computer apparently this morning. There we go. Yeah, and there's the link to the Google Doc as well. So please check that out, and you can use that list, or hey, any list you can find with a simple internet search for IELTS speaking questions, and you can find all those questions. Give them a practice. I'm going to do another class like this later this week. Please check the schedule. I think it's probably on Wednesday. But thanks so much for your questions and your discussion today, and for your participation. I'll see you all again very soon, okay? Thanks a lot.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.